I played foosball this April for the first time with my friends in Brandeis University. It was challenging at first, but it soon became addictive. Then I wondered, how big is this thing? And who other than my little group of friends play this game? So I posted a message on the Mass Foos Facebook page. Numerous people responded to my post, and I decided to meet with them. I first met up with Joe, a senior in Wellesley College, who introduced me to the world of competitive foosball.
So my dad got into foosball when he was younger because it was the thing to do. After school he'd go hang out at the arcade where instead of having video games lined up on the wall, it was just rows of foosball tables. Like he was 15 or so when he went to his first major tournament. And he absolutely blew everyone else out with his partner at the time. It was the Arizona State Championship. He didn't play foosball for too long. When he was playing, he was definitely one of the best in the world. But foosball crashed for many reasons. But he just didn't really play much after that. But it's always been a part of his identity. So when I was growing up, we always had a foosball table around. My dad never played a whole lot with me, but when I started getting a little bit older, when I was around 12 or so, it was just a fun thing to do for him to start teaching me how to play foosball. I was 12 when he started teaching me how to shoot the pole shot, which was his shot that he was famous for. When I got into high school, I really got into it. There was a time where I was practicing half hour to an hour a day, just playing around, practicing shots, practicing passes. I went to a few tournaments, or two tournaments, the Colorado State tournament twice when I was in high school. And the first time I took first in my age division in both events, the singles event and then the doubles event with my brother. And then the second time I took third. I still think foosball is a sport. Almost any way you describe a sport, competitive foosball is exactly that. It's an incredibly intellectual game. There's a lot of strategy going on. It's not just whacking a ball around. There's a lot of thought process into control and passing and outthinking your opponent. I think foosball is an amazing game, and I wish that there'd be more people into it, more people I'd like to share this amazing game with.
After talking to Joe, I decided to check out the weekly tournament held in the Patrons Bar, Allston, Massachusetts. In this little corner next to the rows of pool tables, on a karaoke night, I met Michael and Bruce, who shared their passions with me.
I've been coming to this bar ever since I started playing, which was right after high school. And then I went to college, and I would still come back here in the summers. But then when I graduated, the person who was running the league and tournaments in Boston basically stopped. And so I picked it up from there, and I've been running it with someone else, Matt Pettinato, ever since. And so that was 2010. So I guess the two of us have been doing it for about 5 years now. And I mean, there used to be two scenes in Boston, and then the other one kind of, the bar that they were in closed down, and so it's really just left what's here. And then there's also a New Hampshire scene that sometimes players will go back and forth between Boston and New Hampshire. The foosball scene across the country is declining for the most part. Even here, a few years ago, it wouldn't be uncommon to have 16 to 20 people regularly each week. Now we get probably between 6 and 10 for the most part, and 10 is a good night here. So it's definitely died down a lot. Part of it is just people moving for work or for whatever reason, life gets in the way. foosball is typically the first priority to get dropped, as it should be. But yeah, that's pretty much how it works. For the people who do play, we basically have Wednesday nights regularly. We post on Facebook to see who's coming and get a roll call ahead of time. And then, you know what, the foosball community is small enough that everyone who travels and plays pretty much knows each other. So when someone's traveling in from out of town, they will typically show up. For example, I went to Europe this summer, and even in Amsterdam, I found the local foosball scene in Amsterdam and hopped right in there. So it's pretty cool in that sense. Foosball, I've been playing it for so long. You know, it's a hobby. It's a great way to keep in touch with all the friends I've made through foosball. I even met my girlfriend through foosball. And it's just something I've always done to pass the time. And even now, like when I go on job interviews or my interviews for college and grad school, it's always been, you know, the fun fact about me. So it's just kind of who I am now. But it's not something I used to take it very seriously and travel and compete, and you know, it was a big part of my life. Now it's very much a hobby that I do whenever I have time. But it's definitely taken a back seat.
All right, well, I started playing foosball in Berkeley, California at the UC Berkeley Student Union, which had a pool hall and several different foosball tables. So there were many of us in the Bay Area in California that became interested in this game, foosball, and really became addicted to it. We were, all the players in the 70s and the 80s, it was a lifestyle. You played every day, you practiced every day. Students, you know, it took me many years to finish college because of the game. And many other people were exactly the same. They put life on hold to play this silly game. And you know, that lasted for many years for me through the mid-'80s. And I played tournaments around the country, I played locally, and at some point I decided, you know, I had to continue on with real life, and I actually gave up the game from 1986. I remember the tournament, my last tournament was in Las Vegas. It was the Nationals in Las Vegas. I played poorly, and it was just time for me to stop playing and go on with life. So, which is what, for me personally, this is what I did. I took 20 years off and then began playing again in 2006. So you have a group of people that play this game that are very passionate about this game, and the beauty of it is that it creates a bridge that you can have friendships with anybody in the world when you share this passion of this game. And that is just the beauty of this sport, of this game, of this passion that we all play, that hundreds of us play throughout the world. And I'm sure, I would be certain, because I know it is for me, that the skills that we have learned in practicing and competing in this silly game have helped us in professional life and in real life, in our personal relationships. It creates discipline, it creates patience, it creates a dedication, empathy for another person, it creates sportsmanship. It's enabled me to teach my two daughters quite a bit from what I have learned personally from this game.
What started out as a simple curiosity about this silly game called foosball led me to an opportunity to meet a community of people who turn their hobbies into something more. Foosball, to them, is more than just a game. It is a sport, a lifestyle, and passion.